pushing for a top 4 spot, need to get a result out of this, so we expect a decent game.
The Canberra Olympic will be eyeing up that top 4 spot. They're on 22 points from 16 games. If they win today, they could jump above Gungahlin United, who currently hold that 4th spot. Gungahlin travel to the the Canberra United Academy, so they'll be second favourites probably to get a result there. The Academy have been playing well. I mentioned off air to you though, Steve, that Diego Almudawar, the head coach of Woden Weston, his team has been decimated with injuries and unavailability this week. 7 players from their first choice 11 not here today, including their leading goal scorer, Cassie McGlashan, who has 10 goals. She's overseas at a wedding, unfortunately, for Woden Weston. So even with a full-strength side, it's a difficult task to play this Olympic team. And with players down and unavailable, you say that Olympic are probably the favourites.
Certainly. I mean, they've got a lot of quality in the Olympic ranks, and I think, as you were saying off air, that they've got a full squad to choose from themselves. So if you're coming in as Woden and with your full strength team, you'd be looking at it and thinking this is a daunting task. 7 players missing. It really is a mountain to climb. But football's a funny game, and you never know. Olympic go in a little bit complacent, Woden turn up, bring their A game. Could be a match that's really exciting at both ends of the pitch.
Yeah, the Canberra Olympic team does contain some big-name players for people who are familiar with the women's game. Former W League players Beck Keating, Sally Roja and Grace Field, and Grace Marr, another W League player who's back from injury, and she's made a big difference to the Canberra Olympic team. When she was in the team at the start of the year, they started off like a house on fire. When she got injured, they went through a run of poor form. Since she's been back again, they've been banging in the goals. They won their last 2, 4-2 against Canberra FC, and they beat Tuggeranong 5-1, and Marr was involved in scoring in both those games and setting up goals for Meg McLaughlin, who's had 6 in her last 3 and has scored in 5 consecutive matches.
Well, that's an interesting stat, isn't it? I mean, Grace Marr is one of the young and up-and-coming players in Australian football. I think she's been recognised at international level already, and if she's creating the bullets for Meg McLaughlin to fire, then Olympic can look forward to this match and winning it comfortably. But like I said earlier, football's a funny game, and Woden have got nothing to lose. They'll go out there and give it their best shot, I'm sure, and you never know, you might just get a surprise result. But my head says Olympic, and Olympic comfortably.
Yeah, the first time this season that Eddie Senatore's had a full-strength squad to pick from. Great timing for him as well, with finals around the corner. This is Woden Weston you see coming into your shot here in their black and red striped shirts. We'll have a look at their team first, seeing as though they're on the field. They have a bit of experience in goal in Michelle Tiffin, a back 4, Bridget Plummer, who's the captain, Sarah Whitfield, Rosie Hughes and Mika Gupta at full-back. Midfield 4 of Jerry Longo, Alison Caruso, Jen Cameron and Ella Brown. Caitlin Evans just in front of them, and Anna Vanderbroek up front. Interestingly, just before kick-off, Steve, they lost Alex Nancaro to injury, and Rosie Hughes has been promoted from the under-17s to start only her 3rd match in senior level at centre-back as well. She'll be tasked along with Sarah Whitfield to stop this attack of Canberra Olympic, which between the 3 up front, which we'll talk about in a moment, have scored 22 goals. Well,
we wish the young girl all the best in her, well, not her debut, but in a continuing development. I mean, obviously it's a very stiff task that she's been set today to try and contain the Olympic attack, who are in free scoring mode. But, you know, you've got to start your career somewhere, and this is as good a place as any. Being thrown in the deep end can sometimes bring out the very best in players.
Canberra Olympics team then up with a 4-3-3. Miriam McLaren in goal. Fullbacks are Lily Dawson and Victoria Jameson. Grace Basser-Silk and Beck Keating in central defence. Midfield 3 is the 3 that we mentioned earlier. Sally Rojan, Grace Marr and Grace Field. Very experienced quality midfield there. Up front, Chiara Gaspari, Emma Gow and Meg McLaughlin, their leading scorers. So, you know, Steve, looking at that, there's goals throughout this team. Every single player in that central core has been on the score sheet multiple times this season.
And look, it's probably the case today that one or more of them will get on the score sheet again. I'm just hoping that Woden can give us a competitive match and test Olympic, and at least make them work for everything that they do get. If it's a one-way sort of Olympic onslaught, then, you know, from the neutral perspective, the game loses a little bit. So we want a competitive match. We want Olympic to play well. We want Woden to play well. We want all the girls to be involved in a competitive game. And with a little bit of luck, a close one.
Been close in the two matches previously this season. The round 8 game was a 2-1 victory for Canberra Olympic here. Sally Rojan and Grace Basser-Silk scoring the goals for Canberra Olympic. Kat Conroy pulling one back for Woden Weston. The match, rearranged round 2 match, was played in between rounds 12 and 13. And goals from Meg McLaughlin and Chiara Gaspari had Olympic 2-0 up and cruising there. But Annika Shu and Cassie McGlashan pulled Woden back to a 2-2 draw. So at that stage, you know, Olympic are 2-0 up. They're probably thinking they're cruising. And good fight back from the Wanderers to get a point from that one, and they'll need all that sort of effort and determination again today.
Yes, but it just underlines the fact that football isn't a foregone conclusion. So Woden can approach this game with very little fear. They can go into it and just say, let's have a go. We're not to be intimidated by the star-studded lineup that they face. You know, 2-0 down, no matter what sort of level you're playing at, if you can get it back to 2-2, you've done really well. So that's the sort of determination they'll need to bring to the game today. Lawrence
Morris is the referee, assisted by Nathan Toomey and Blake Baldwin. The other matches this afternoon in the Women's Premier League: Monero Panthers versus Canberra FC, that's 7th versus 2nd. Gungahlin United versus Canberra Academy, that's 3rd versus 4th. And Tuggeranong United, winless Tuggeranong United and pointless Tuggeranong United, have a daunting task at home to Belconnen United, the league leaders, who are 8 points clear at the top of the table with a game in hand and a goal difference of plus 58, if you please.
Yeah, not too shabby a season for Belconnen United, and next week's opponents, Olympic, we get to see today. So if Olympic can get a really good performance out of the girls today and get a good result, they can probably go into the game next week against Belconnen with a little bit of confidence. But you would expect Belconnen to be picking up 3 points against Tuggeranong today. You think so? I think Tuggeranong have played better in recent weeks. They're still looking for that crucial first point, and sometimes that's a monkey to get off your back with a young group of players, isn't it? You know, they've been beaten 3-2 a couple of times in recent weeks. They fought hard against Olympic last week, going down 5-1. The week before that, they went down 3-2 to a late goal against Woden Weston. So let's hope today that they can put in performance against Belconnen and give the Tuggies faithful something to cheer about. We're underway here. And immediately it's Emma Gow looking for McLaughlin, running at the Woden Weston defence and earning the first corner within the opening 16 seconds of the match. And the central defenders from Olympic trot forward, so obviously planned move to get the taller girls into the box. Plenty of shirts in that box. Woden will be hoping this isn't setting a precedent for the match. Opportunity to early on test Michelle Tiffin from the set piece, which is swung in towards the keeper, who gets a double fist on it and does well, and Caruso completes the clearance. Decent fist away from the keeper. It's going to come straight back though. Swung in towards Bick Keating, who's missed it, and Tiffin can grab it. So confident piece of goalkeeping early on. Yeah, good start for the keeper. Good clearance from the corner, and it was a decent ball in, and then she's collected comfortably from the ball that came back in centrally. What Woden do have, Steve, is pace with Ella Brown and Anna Vanderbroek in their front too. They're very quick, so they might be able to cause some issues if they can get some early balls in behind the defence. As it is, they're defending at the moment. Here's Rojan to Dawson. Touch forward from Basser-Silk. Doesn't quite find Lily Dawson, so the throw will be taken by Plummer. Interesting point you make about the pace up front, because from that corner Olympic left 2-on-2 at the back, so quick transition might just work for Woden. Here's Ma. First time we've seen her this afternoon. Just chips it through looking for McLaughlin. Tiffin called, so Whitfield let it go. Brown finds Caruso. Jamison's there. And Markham find field. And the midfield, if Olympic is closed down quickly, and Plummer sends that bomb forward looking for Vanderbroek, but the flag goes up. And there's an obvious first option there, Steve, of what they're going to be trying to do for most of the afternoon, you'd think. Yeah, Olympic playing a very high line, so if they can get the ball over the top, there is space to attack. And if they have got that pace you talk about, then there's a chance of picking something up. Noticeable when they attack that Lily Dawson is actually pushing into a right-hand forward position, the right back very high up the field. Here's Keating, you might see her here as she goes behind Plummer, but good defending from the skipper. Keating wins it back. Finds Rojan rather. Caruso wins the tackle. The chance for Longo to bring the ball forward for Woden.
Brown, shadowed by Keating, and tried to return the ball to Longo. Decent signs, though, defensively, that they're going to be hard to break down.
Yeah, I mean, so far we're very early stages, I know, but there's nothing to say that there's much between the two teams.
Yeah, 3.5 minutes in, and Olympic looking to get on the front foot. Dawson will be after this. Plummer's come across to challenge and just sees off the fullback. Well defended. Up the line, the pass was looking for Evans, but you can't get a touch. Now here's Marr to Field. There goes McLaughlin. First chance for Meg McLaughlin to get into the penalty area, bearing down and goal. Here's McLaughlin, nudges it past the keeper, and that's why she is the leading goal scorer for Canberra Olympic. That's her 16th of the campaign, and Olympic have an early lead.
That's a great run from McLaughlin. She's actually come across the face of her two defenders to pick up that straighter ball into the penalty area, and her pace and strength has just been too much for the young Woden defender. The goalkeeper came out to try and block the angle, but a really neat finish, and 1-0 Olympic.
Just nudged it past Tiffin when she came out, didn't she? A super finish, because it's very easy in that situation to just blast the ball at the keeper. Just toe-ended it under as she came out, and here she is again. Gal finds Field. Rojan to her right. Looked to feed it in, but intercepted in the end. It was...
Yeah, I think Woden have just got to weather a little bit of a storm now. They've got a goal down, but if they drop the heads, lose the shape, this could turn into a real onslaught. So they really need to be concentrating at a high level and don't lose the intensity in the defending.
Field loses out to Caruso. Vandenbroek makes the run. She's got the pace to get there, and McLaren was a little bit slow off her line, but recovered very quickly. What was good about that goal, Steve, was the quality that Meg McLaughlin showed there as a forward, for any youngsters watching there, to use her body to shield Bridget Plummer, and then when she got in, no panic. Absolutely.
She plays Meg McLaughlin. I mean, she's used to scoring goals, and that's a confidence thing with goal scorers. But she gets into areas, she can get her head up, have a look where the keeper is, and makes the finish look simple. It's quite complex, but she did the right thing. Composure, really, really key in those sorts of situations. She did very well. Probably not the last chance she's going to get today, you would think. Here's Rojan finding Bassasilk. Plummer was there once more. Rojan gets it back from Bassasilk, now looks for Dawson. She might try to take on Plummer, instead comes back infield to Rojan. Neat and tidy and confident build-up. Marr finds Jameson. Gal's gone outside her. Nice little pass as well. This is another good build-up from Olympic. And then in the end, well picked up and intercepted. Yeah, Olympic will be a little disappointed. They were 2-on-1. They had an overload on their left-hand side and really didn't take advantage of it. Long throw down the line, looks for Vandenbroek. It's easily dealt with at the back. Was challenged by Gupta, but Field has the pieces, and Keating sends it wide, and off come the blue shirts once more with Jameson. McLaughlin, good piece of defending by Whitfield, but she's past her here. McLaughlin now taking on Gupta, swings it into the area, but couldn't find the run of Dawson. But once again, strength and pace causing the Woden defenders all sorts of problems. McLaughlin clearly the person that they need to stop in and around that penalty box. They need to Michelle Tiffin, it would seem early on, to be at her best today. Yeah, and certainly I think further up the park they need to be stopping the service to her at source if they can. Slick turn from Vandenbroek. Looks to find Brown. Pass is picked off by Keating. Now Marr driving at the defence, finds McLaughlin. Chance again for Meg McLaughlin. Advancing through on goal is McLaughlin again, and it's 2-0. Clinical as you like. Meg McLaughlin, when she got in, was there ever any doubt? 2-0 Olympic. Yeah, it's starting to show the hallmarks now of a really tough day at the office for the Woden team. McLaughlin in space again, a fairly flat back four, pierced by Marr's through ball, and McLaughlin's just not going to miss those sorts of chances.
It must be an absolute delight for a striker of Meg McLaughlin's quality to have Grace Marr, Grace Field, Sally Rojan pulling the strings behind her, Emma Gow, Lily Dawson out wide, creating opportunities for her. And she's had 2 chances today, and she's taken both of them. Didn't need any time to get her eye in, did she?
No, I mean, 100% record so far, and it augurs well for what happens next. I certainly don't think she's finished on the scoring sheet.
It's picked up. Chance for Woden to maybe settle the nerves.
Well, you mentioned earlier on, Russ, that they were 2-0 down previously and came back to draw 2-all, so let's see if they've got a little bit of fight amongst them.
Caruso's through ball. Didn't quite come off. Looked fairly lively, Woden, though, when they've gone in the front third. Vandenbroek and Brown look like they may cause some problems if they can get forward and in numbers and have decent possession. But as it is, they're on the back foot again. Here goes McLaughlin once more. Dawson completely unmarked, coming in on the far post if she can pick her out. Here is Lily Dawson. Good control in the first instance. Falls for Field. Declines to shoot. Back towards Marr. She doesn't mind a shot, but doesn't quite get that on target. But worrying signs it again, and Meg McLaughlin's having a field day.
She's running right, is she not? I mean, she's too big, too strong, too quick for this very young and inexperienced Woden defence. And unless they can sort of bottle up the midfield or bottle up the penetrating passes that are coming from the midfield and get her a little tighter, they're going to be in for a long, long day.
Well, let's hope for their sake that they can find that. They've given the ball away again to McLaughlin. Plummer, who's switched wings at the moment, won the ball, sent it forward to Brown. It's nicely done, and a chance perhaps for Geraldine Lungo. 2 goals for her this season, the young winger.
Well, another one would be timely.
They have got players that can score goals. Anna Vandenbroek's got 4 this season. Jerry Lungo's got a couple. Bridget Plummer's weighed in herself, but without Cassie McGlashan, who with 10 is their leading scorer, they are a little bit light up front. Fields, runs Jemison.
A bit unlucky there. I mean, the press was good. They almost pinched that in a good area of the park, and I think that's what they've got to do more of.
Gow looks to go wide to Marr. Good challenge by Caruso, who tracked her well. Former Tuggeranong United midfielder.
McLaughlin herself, I think, a former Tuggies player as well.
Certainly is.
And
wasn't going to play this season, Meg McLaughlin. Only poured into the side halfway through the year. She did have a bit of a field day against Tuggeranong United earlier in the year, Meg McLaughlin. 6 goals in that one. On track for that again today already.
I think she's done it more than once, hasn't she, this year?
Meg's got 6 in one game. Aoife Colville from Belconnen United has had 2 6s and a 5. She's the leading goal scorer in the league. I think 28 at the last counts.
And we'll be looking for a few more today.
Well, McLaughlin's closing in. Might be a good race for that golden boot.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
His field. Good pressing from Caruso. Keating needs to be careful. McLaren rather. Out wide to Jemison. She just plays it forward towards Marr. Lovely touch from Grace Marr to find McLaughlin in the channel. Fires it across the penalty area. Dawson was coming in. It's fallen for Gaspari. And her path is a little bit short, and Cameron can bring it away and find Vandenbroek. Turns nicely, but Gaspari was back to make up for the error. And she'll have another touch here. Rojan. Nicely worked out wide to Dawson. Chance for her to keep it in and take on Gupta, who stands her ground. Bassa Silk. And Rojan looking for McLaughlin on the far post. Here's Meg McLaughlin in for the hat-trick. And she's put it wide. She is human after all.
You would have had your house on that one reaching the back of the net, wouldn't you?
Lovely ball in from Sally Rojan over the top, and McLaughlin got in, and that was probably the easier one of the 3.
It was. And she's done the right thing. She's just tried to pass it into the back of the net, just missed the target, but in a good spot again. But there's just, from an Olympic point of view, they're just getting miles too much room in midfield, and they play at will, and they're not actually playing at full pace. You know, they're doing this in a canter.
Dawson to McLaughlin. Dawson goes for the return, and she's going to get it. Gupta's challenging her to the corner flag. Bassa Silk. Field. No Woden player near her at the moment. Plenty of time for Gracefield to pick a pass. Rojan. Bassa Silk. Rojan again. She creates space for herself. Looking to slide the ball through to Gracefield, but it's just a bit too far, and the flag was probably up anyway.
Yes, it was. It was. But once again, you're seeing Woden just being stretched far too easily, and Olympic afforded miles too much time on the ball.
Gaspari sends it forward this time. They can't get the ball, can they, at the moment, Woden?
No.
Keep turning over possession. Here's Rojan.
Who's been really influential in that midfield holding role.
Mars ball wide to Gal. Back to Grace Mar. Looking to bundle away past Longo. Gets the ball into the area, and Tiffin is there to clasp the ball and will look for a better distribution this time, but no real option, so she has to send it long again.
Not a bad option, though.
It was a good kick, wasn't it? Found Brown. And drills it straight to Eddie Sedatori, who could catch.
Plucks it out of the air like a professional.
He used to play rugby, didn't he, Eddie?
Did he?
I think so, and showed it there. Here's Ma. Bit of a scramble in midfield, and Woden have it back, looking for Brown. Nice turn. Now, once she take her on Keating. Looks for Vandenbroek. Back to Brown again. Better from Woden. Longo takes over. Nice challenge from Keating, but Longo's still there. And then just too strong defensively. And off come Olympic. As Steve mentioned, it had a canter rather than a gallop.
Yeah. Yeah, it's... you know, I mean, against the better teams in the competition, the Belconnens and such, the Canberra United Academy teams, you're going to have to play it with a little bit more urgency, a little bit more intensity, but at the moment they're just being allowed to play at the pace that suits them.
Nice little 1-2 for Keating. She might try her luck from distance. Didn't catch hold of it quite as well as she would have liked.
No,
but nice little 1-2 again.
Yeah, good football. But I'll have words with Beck later on, because she does do a little bit of work with Belconnen as a physio. And if that's the sort of shooting that she's going to come up with, then I'll have to question her.
She's a better footballer than that, though, isn't she?
Oh, she's a good player. Good player. Great physio, too. Very easy to get along with. Just forgets to bring coffee every now and again.
I'm sure she'll be reminded. Touch from Evans was a little bit slack. Throw into Olympic. They've been gifted the ball back again. Don't need a second invitation, this team. Bassa Silk will take the throw to Field. Skips away from the marker quite simply and looks for Gao on the overlap. It's a good ball too. If Gao can keep it in, it's just running away from her. Didn't quite have the pace to do so, but worryingly for Diego Almudawar for Woden Weston, Steve, is the amount of space that the quality players like Marfield, Rojan, Bassa Silk, Dawson out wide here are being afforded.
Yes, and I'm not sure that he has the quality available to him to actually do much about it. I mean, in the early parts of the game, it was reasonably even. Woden were closing things down, but 2 goals quickly have changed the complexion of this game. And at the moment, unless they can catch them on the break, Woden are just struggling to contain a very, very decent Olympic team.
We've had 16.5 minutes live on Bar TV Sports. Women's NPL football from O'Connor. Canberra Olympic leading Woden Weston by 2-0. 2 goals in the space of 4 minutes from Meg McLaughlin in the 4th and the 8th. Since then she's had a further chance which she's spurned. The shape of the play there would suggest she's going to get a few more before the 90 minutes is up. Here's Field to Bassa Silk. Caruso gamefully trying to get back to help out, and Hughes gets a touch in. But once again it's turned over and Rojan finds Ma, and she shoots from distance. It's dipping as well, and that wasn't too far away.
Great effort. But you can see a significant difference in the approaches of the two teams. Woden get possession and immediately they're under pressure. Conversely, when Olympic have got it, they, as you suggest, they've got time and space to play.
Well, they won't give up, the Woden team, that's for sure.
Nope.
They'll keep plugging away. Gupta tried to find Evans. And you can still see the smile on the faces of the players as well, Steve, so they're enjoying themselves even though they may be second best at the moment.
It's a lovely winter's day in Canberra, so there's no reason why you shouldn't enjoy your football.
Gaspari finds Bassa Silk. Now Rojan to McLaughlin. Lays it off the field. Looks to get it back from McLaughlin. Here's a real chance again. Meg McLaughlin, but she's chipped that one over the crossbar as well. And she'd be furious with herself. Really could and should have had a hat-trick by this stage.
Well, it could be McLaughlin 4, Woden 0. The chances that have been created, every chance has really fallen to Meg McLaughlin so far. But a goal return of 50% is not too bad.
What about the return pass from Gracefield? Just to stab it over the defence. The weight on it was perfect as well. And McLaughlin snatched at it. Unfortunately for her, his shoes, the youngster, called in very late, of course. Gupta, Caruso, straight into Gaspari, and there's heaps of space here for Grace Maher. This could spell trouble. Great tackle by Whitfield. Beautifully done to Rob Maher. Finds Vandenbroek. She's beaten by Jameson. And Caruso's there again to bundle away from Field. Good strength from Alison Caruso. Evans. She finds Longo. Runner outside it was Vandenbroek, but Jameson wins it and sends it forward to McLaughlin. Shields it well. Plummer's there tight, and Whitfield helps too, but McLaughlin wheels away into space. And off she goes, looking to take on Whitfield, who does very well defensively to hold her off, but concedes the free kick, Steve.
Yeah, we're a long way away, and it looked a little soft, but the referee was in a very good position to give it. But once again, you're seeing the strength of McLaughlin being able to hold off a defender. And the defenders are just a little bit wrong side of her. The instruction from the coaching staff will to be ball side, goal side where you can, and at the moment they're just getting the wrong side of it, and it's allowing her a little bit too much scope to turn and play forward.
You don't want to give Grace Maher too many set piece opportunities. You know the quality she's got, and there's plenty of blue shirts that she can aim for in the penalty area. Queuing up on the far post. Maher swings it in towards Gow. It's a good defensive header away from Whitfield. And Vandenbroek's there to collect on the edge of the area. And plays it off of Maher to win the throw, but defensively very solid.
Look, I think from that sort of predictable sort of ball, the ball that goes into the penalty, they'll do okay. It's combinations on the edge of the box that are actually catching them out at the moment. They're not being able to read that or go with runners. So if they can force Olympic to play longer and try and get the ball into the box from deeper areas, they might stand a chance then of at least keeping them at bay.
Well, they've held out for at least 10 or so minutes since they last conceded, which is good for the game. Vandenbroek finds Longo. She's beaten off the ball by Jameson.
Seems such a physical disparity between the two teams.
It does, doesn't it? And I think at the moment, and that's very noticeable. We are talking, though, Steve, about players that have played at the highest level here in the blue shirts against those in the red and black who perhaps haven't.
Well, not yet. And maybe there's one or two of them, as their careers develop, will get into that sort of stratosphere.
Yeah, plenty of time for a lot of these players.
Yeah.
Not least young Rosie Hughes, the under 17-year-old, then wearing the number 2 shirt. Big day for her. Drafted into the team literally moments before kickoff. It was probably about 10 minutes before kickoff when she was told she was going to be playing, not just on the bench, but straight into the starting 11.
You've got to admire her courage, haven't you, to step up and do that sort of thing.
Absolutely, and she would have played in the earlier games as well. Maher's ball looking for Dawson. Evans is back to try and track her, but Dawson's much quicker and does brilliantly to keep it in and step away. Lily Dawson, beautifully done that. Pulls it in towards McLaughlin, rolls the defender. Good stuff from Meg McLaughlin, still going, picking her spot and firing home into the roof of the net. It may be Meg McLaughlin's hat-trick, but that goal belongs, I think, to Lily Dawson for some fantastic footwork on the touchline here. And when McLaughlin got there, her strength, her power and her finishing ability. 3-0 hat-trick to McLaughlin. Well, that's 5 chances, 3 goals from Mel McLaughlin. I couldn't agree more with you. I think Dawson has done extremely well on this near touchline. Technique, perseverance, then a decent ball in. But McLaughlin's first touch was the one that set it up. She was back to goal, controlled it well, and then a couple of extra touches before she set up a shot on her left foot, and there was no mistaking the finish then. Absolutely rifled into the top corner past Tiffin, who, to be fair, had no chance, did she? No. Picked her spot. Here they come again with Field. And Dawson, who, don't forget, was named on the team sheet at a right fullback. She's played nowhere near that, has she? She's been on a right wing for most of it, as Olympic have enjoyed enjoyed, you'd say, 90% of the possession. Here's Ma looking for the chip off the keeper off the line, and that is absolutely fantastic from Grace Ma. She's picked the keeper off the line from a mile out, and that's the quality she's got. Wonderful finish. It's 4-0.
Great vision, great technique. I mean, the goalkeeper hasn't put a foot wrong. You couldn't blame her for any of the goals that have been conceded yet, but Ma spotted her just slightly out of position and has finished exquisitely. That's a wonderful finish, and I think Gracie Ma's, some of her distribution's been a bit below par, but that would give her a lot of confidence.
I mean, the technique and the vision in the first place, Steve, but then the ability to pull off the execution like that, out of this world. That is a fantastic goal really at any level, at any grade. Yeah, and it comes down to people getting their heads up and seeing what's going on around them. But poor old Woden looks shot to bits at the moment. They need to find someone to stick their foot on the ball and try and calm it down. Cameron looks to find Longo. It's funny, as we said as well, Steve, they're 4-0 down, but they've looked fairly lively in the front third. That certainly looks to be the best aspect of their current lineup, and you know, there's 7 players missing, so you can't be too critical of these girls. They're doing the best, but certainly going forward, they look like they can cause some problems. Unfortunately, Olympic, when they're going forward, have caused problems, and the game's, as you know, as a contest, is probably just about over. And it's really now about whether Woden have the courage to keep playing. Well, let's hope they do. Here's Cameron. Ma's in there to make the tackle and looks to find Gaspari. She's been beaten by Rojan, who's probably been the best Woden player on the park at the moment in terms of her physicality and ability to get stuck in. She's done a good job in the middle of the park in difficult circumstances. Yeah. I mean, the only player that I think's probably been better than her has actually been the goalkeeper. I think the goalkeeper's done quite well. Yeah, as you said, Steve, nothing she could have done about any of those goals, in particular that last one. There's not many women's footballers in the WNPL that have got the ability to do what Grace Ma did just a moment ago. With the execution that she dealt it with, it was absolutely outstanding. Yeah, that's right. I think Munoz, who plays with Bill Connon, who's now coming to in the twilight of his career, is as good a female footballer as Canberra has produced, and she can do that sort of thing. Yep. But Ma is the heir apparent. We'll chip forward. Plummer has led her team well at the back defensively. Keating. Touch to the left finds Jamieson in plenty of space. Victoria Jamieson, the left back, played pretty much every minute this year. Here goes McLaughlin again, but Tippin was there and read it well. There's the experience of the goalkeeper. This is where they've struggled, isn't it? Straight away it's come back again because they haven't been able to get a foot on the ball. It's very much like a training exercise, attack v defence at the moment. When the goalkeeper, you know, who I'm prepared to give a lot of credit to, is just knocking it upfield, and it's like starting the exercise again. Dawson finds Keating, who says, chase that, Lily. And she'll try to, but Gupta's in there in front of her and does well defensively to just nudge it back towards Tiffin. Interesting to see whether the Olympic team can sort of maintain positional discipline now, because this is an opportunity for a lot of them to get on the score sheet if they haven't scored before. So you're already seeing people like Beck Keating drifting further forward and coming out of her back 4 position, and maybe that affords Woden a bit of an opportunity to catch them on the break. The only 2 in the starting 11 that haven't scored this season were the 2 nominal fullbacks at the first, when they kicked off, Victoria Jamieson on the left-hand side and Lily Dawson on this side. There's been plenty of goals from everybody else, the majority of them coming through McLaughlin, as we said. But the midfield 3 of Ma, Field and Rojan before kick-off had 14 goals between them. That's now 15. Grace Ma's 9th of the season, that chip. Considering she's been out for most of it, that's a great return as well. And here she goes again, looking to feed Emma Gow, who can't quite keep that in play. Well, I think Dawson and Jamieson will be looking to this as an opportunity to sort of break their duck. If Dawson shows the kind of quick feet and close control that she did to set up McLaughlin's goal there won't be too long before she gets on the score sheet, you would hazard a guess? No, I wouldn't think so. And I should imagine that Eddie Sanatore is thinking that this is an opportunity to give some of the squad players a run.
if not immediately, certainly in the second half.
Plenty of youngsters on the bench, including Alexia Fauna, 14 years old. She's been selected for the Mini Matildas trial camp this week, alongside a clutch of other players from Canberra, most Canberra United Academy players: Emma Ilioski, Elke Aitulu, Isabella Barak, and then Josie Dubbett, Sasha Grove and Steffi Legins as well. So congratulations to them.
Yeah, fantastic opportunity for those girls. And maybe we get to see the young girl from Olympic in the second half.
We may see Fauna. She started a lot of games this season, Alexia Fauna. Unfortunate not to be in this starting lineup today, but of course when you've got a full squad and you've got quality W League players to select from, it's difficult for some of the youngsters, but they're learning a lot as well. Gupta's there to clear. Gow's got in front of her marker here. Here's a chance for Emma Gow. She pops one goalwards as well. Wasn't on target, but ambitious effort, and why not?
Oh, it was worth a shot. It was worth a shot for sure. And you want people in those positions to be a little bit selfish. So the right option, just poor execution. Or not an execution that could have been better, shall we say.
One thing we haven't talked about, Steve, is before kick-off, as I said, Olympic were on 22 points, Gungahlin were on 24. Gungalin's goal difference was +1, Olympics was +4. So with Gungahlin playing the academy today and Olympic playing here, Olympic perhaps thinking, well, maybe a chance for us to put up a few goals and improve our goal difference, which might be crucial at the end of the season.
Absolutely. I mean, it's very tight for that in the run-in and for the third and fourth spots for the top four. So the more goals you can get, the better off you're going to be. I mean, you would hope it doesn't come down to that. And I think a win today for Olympic will, if the form book is to be followed, will probably put them past Gungahlin. But if it does come down to goal difference, you want to make sure you're the ones that are in the best position.
Mar tries to find McLaughlin in the penalty area, but Whitfield is there. And Caruso brings it down nicely. Looks for the runner, who was Vanderbroek, but Keating had read the intention. Gaspari, nice little flick of the heel to send the ball towards Gal, who went close earlier and then just skips past the challenge. Here's a chance for Emma Gal. She tries to curl her. A couple of players in the middle of the penalty area.
Better options when they... I think she's done really well to beat the fullback and then got into a position where she could have actually set up a really good goal-scoring opportunity. But, praising her for the shot previously, that was a poor decision that time.
Well, she has scored 5 goals this season. Was looking to bring up the half dozen. I think Meg McLaughlin would have had a word with her if she hadn't already bagged a hat-trick. Standing in the middle. Have Woden got some sort of response? Brown is on her bike, but Bassa Silk is quick as well. Back to McLaren. Finds Keating. Just eases the ball forward to field. He seems to have all the time in the world with that little drop of the shoulder. Looking to send McLaughlin down the middle. There's no flag. There is a flag. Yeah. Just about offside, Steve? Marginal.
She actually did really well as the ball was coming across the back four. She did really well to hold her run up and put herself in a good position, but then just drifted forward at the wrong time. So she was marginally offside. Good decision.
Bridget Plummer wearing the captain's armband today. Big job ahead of her to galvanise her troops and lift some heads. Gaspari. Field. Gaspari again. Nice little back heel flick straight back to Field, who puts Dawson in behind. Here is Lily Dawson. She's got the pace to get away. McLaughlin's peeling off to the far post. Dawson pulls it back. McLaughlin's there. It's ricocheted off a couple of players, and Gupta's going to complete the clearance for the corner. I think McLaughlin tried to set up Ma there, and it didn't quite work.
No, but what a great ball in behind the defence for Lily Dawson to run onto. And she's done exactly the right thing when she got in behind and pulled it back. And then there was just a little bit of a pinball tilt going on there as the ball bounced around before eventually being cleared for a corner.
Which Ma places somewhere near the corner flag. Swings it into the penalty area. Tiffin comes, gets a double fist on it. Falls for McLaughlin. Longo's on her back. Try not to let her turn. Still going, McLaughlin though into the air, fires it across, bounces off Keating, and Tiffin did well to react and push it round for a corner.
Yes. Again, she's just too strong. She's turned there. I think she was really trying to get the crossing in the first instance, but her strength has just taken her through the challenge, and then she's been able to pick out a ball into the box that Olympic were a little bit unfortunate not to finish.
Well, they're going to get another chance off this set piece. Mar's jogged across to the other side. Left foot, right foot, doesn't matter to Grace Mar. Quality on both sides. Swings it to this near post. Keating's there. It's bounced off a defender, and she got a piece of it, Keating, but not enough to turn it goalward. Field is quickest to the loose ball. Rojan back to field again. Gupta's come and made the right decision in the end.
Good football, though, by Olympic on the counter. Oh, we're keeping the attack going. Lovely ball in from Grace Mar. Real pace on it. And Keating probably a little bit disappointed that she didn't make a better contact.
Dawson beaten to it by Hughes.
Well done, Hughes.
Defensively stepped in front of the runner and showed some good strength. Canberra Olympic having it mostly their own way, though, you'd have to say. Here's Silk, Rojan, Dawson. Great ball into the penalty area. Plummer clears. Field finds Mar. He tried to return it to field, but it falls for Gaspari. Back to field again. Rojan. Every single player in a blue shirt seems very comfortable in possession. Yeah. Rojan looking to pick a pass. As I said, that they give it away. Always happens, doesn't it? Yeah. Evans helps it forwards. But it's going to come straight back once again. This time it's Grace Mar's turn. Rojan. Now can Brown get in here? She almost did, but Keating's there to deny her. Still falls for Ella Brown, who battled well there. Evans tries to chip it over the top towards Vandenbroek, whose pace is going to get her to the ball first. Sends it in, and that's a timely intervention from Keating as Brown was lurking. Now the break's on. Gaspari finds Fields. Dawson. Caruso's there.
You're right.
She settles the team.
Yeah, she's been solid, hasn't she, in the middle of the park for them. In a team that's sort of second best, she's done really well.
But she seems fairly comfortable in possession, doesn't she? And she's putting herself about as well. Physically, she seems to be the only one in the Woden team that can match it with her Olympic counterparts at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's Longo.
Who's toiled away with that much reward. She's sort of worked her socks off. Done well for them.
Putting the effort in, as is Vandenbroek, who's won herself a free kick here. The chance perhaps from a set piece to create some problems for Miriam McLaren, who's had very little to do in the Olympic goal at the moment. So let's see if she is troubled on this occasion.
Well, you would hope that they would get the taller players into the box. If they're going directly into the penalty area, then they need some aerial presence. And she's going in late now.
Yeah, Caruso's gone up towards the penalty spot. Here's the free kick. It's a flatter one, though. And Jamison stabs it away for a corner.
I don't know whether that was planned or not, but it nearly came off, didn't it?
It's better for them, isn't it? At least they're at this end of the field. And the chance for Plummer to jog forward and join in as well. She's shown she can head a ball defensively.
Yeah.
See if she can get on the end of this corner, which Longo's gone over to take. Striking it into the sun. A good corner too towards Plummer on the near post, who did win the header. It didn't quite come off for them, but much better signs.
Yeah, I mean, the movement was positive. The ball in was at good pace. A little too much for it on that one for the Woden liking, but at least it's a half chance that they've created to show that they're still interested in getting something out of the game.
There's still life in them. They are 4-0 down, but that was much better. Caruso heads that forward towards Brown. Fields in there with Evans, and Cameron rather. Brown's ball bounces off of Silk. Here's Caruso. Went into the challenge with Mara and came out on top. Hughes finds Gupta. Evans. Dawson tracking her movements. But lovely turn from Evans. Clips it into the air, but Keating super solid at the back. And Mar finds McLaughlin, and Plummer needs to be tight, and that's a much better piece of defending from the captain.
Better positioning then. Kept her in front of her, could see what was going on, and was able to deal with the bouncing ball.
Mar. Jameson. Mar once more. Fields, a bit heavier touch that time, not her best, and Caruso was there. Look to find Van den Broek in the channel, but
Yes,
Keating reads it so well, doesn't she?
I mean, on top of the game, is she not? But the ball itself was a little ambitious.
Here's Rojan. Happy to go deep to pick the ball up and kickstart another Olympic move. Live on Bar TV Sports, WMPL Football. From O'Connor Enclosed on a nice winter's afternoon in Canberra. Here's Fields. Can she put Dawson in behind Gupta? She can. Tiffin's coming out. Dawson, it's a race to see who gets there first, and the goalkeeper made the right decision and did well.
That's 3 or 4 passes from back to front, and Olympic have just cut them up really well. Dawson's pace is causing them problems down this right-hand side. Full credit to the keeper, who came out and made a decent clearance.
Here's Rojan. Finds Field again. Works space for Bassa Silk, who sees a gap, so takes advantage of it. Tried to find Gaspari, but the pass was a little bit wayward. Here's Ma. Scored from this distance not long back. Looks for McLaughlin. Nicely laid off to Grace Ma again. Strikes it goalwards, so this time Tiffin saw it coming.
That's where they're at the best, though, isn't it? Those little balls into feet, little bounce off, little forward runs, setting the shot up. Olympic look quality.
Certainly proving why many people consider them a dark horse to cause issues in the final, Steve, if they get there.
That's right. I mean, finals, as it was proved last year in the women's game, or even in the men's game, that once you get to the finals, you're always a threat. Belconnen dominated the competition last year, as they have this year, but in the grand final got done on penalties. So if Olympic can sneak in, and it'll be interesting to see how they go next week against the strong Belconnen side, if they can sneak in, they can be a threat.
Well, here's the free kick, looking for McLaughlin on the far post. Plummer wins a header, and then loses it in the sunshine as Dawson tries to help it back into the danger area. Bassa Silk's going to take over. Now McLaughlin prods it off to Field. Gets it back again. Nice little 1-2, but the return pass was a bit ambitious, and Van den Broek was there, and Whitfield completes the clearance. Straight to Keating, who beautifully nods it into the path of Rojan, who sends Field into the channel in between centre-back and full-back. Here's Grace Field pulling it back. Rojan arrives, and it's another Olympic goal. Beautifully created, wonderfully executed. Superb stuff. It's 5-0.
And no surprise that they've got the fifth. And this comes from the composed defending of Beck Kiting at the back, whose little header sets up the midfield play. Get a wonderful run from Fields, who is in behind, and when she does, she picks out the pass for Rosejohn, and it's from there a simple matter of making it 5, and did so with some aplomb.
Didn't snatch at it, didn't thrash at it, just placed a side foot into the net. It's 5-0, 4 minutes before half time. Woden will be hoping they can hold out at least till the break now. Here goes Lungo on the run. Jameson's back with her, and she does well, the winger. Pulls it back towards Van den Broek. It's going to come for Caruso. Now Brown. Rojan, the latest goal scorer, finds Gaspari, who gives it away. Caruso's there. Now Plummer. Hughes. Gupta. Infield towards Evans. This is a better build-up from Woden. Evans ball in. Van den Broek. Nice touch. Good chance here for Van den Broek. Out comes McLaren, but best spell of football we've seen from Woden.
Did really well. I mean, the pressure's off them now, so they can try and play a little bit, but that was a lovely turn, lovely ball in, and a little bit more of that, and perhaps we can get a Woden goal, even if it is just consolation.
Even at this stage, here's Cameron, beaten by Field. Now there's danger. McLaughlin to Field. McLaughlin will want it back, but Bridget Plummer stood her ground superbly and got the knee in the way when it was needed. It was 2-on-1 for a moment.
Yeah, you wouldn't be wanting to mess that up like they did there in the last 3 minutes of an important game, but at 5-0 it probably doesn't matter as much.
What's interesting, Steve, is we're going to get, at this rate, 4 or 5 teams pushing for finals, all with different styles of play as well, which is good to see. Here they come again. Here's Fields. It's opening up for Dawson. If she can slide her through, the flag will go up, though. Offside against Lily Dawson. So Belconnen United, Canberra FC, Canberra United Academy, Gangala United and Canberra Olympic, the 5 teams pushing for the top 4 spots, and all of them play different styles of football with different quality players.
Well, variety is the spice of life, Ross, and it's great to see that not everything is sort of recipe football. People are actually looking at the squads and the players that are available to them, adapting a style of play to the resources that they've got, and that's the best way, in my humble opinion, that you can get success out of a group of players.
Here's Bassa Silk. What's noticeable with this Olympic team is no matter where they're named on the park, they're all comfortable in every position, and they rotate very, very well, and this causes all sorts of problems for teams when they can't find out what the structure of the opposition is and who's playing where. Yeah. Here's field, here's Ma. Can she slide Dawson in or McLaughlin, and the flag's up against Meg McLaughlin? They would have been talking beforehand, Steve, and I know they probably were, about the qualities of Grace Ma, Gracefield, Sally Rojan, and about how you can counter it. But when their movement is as good as it is here, and then you see Dawson peeling from full-back to the winger, Emma Gow into the 9 position and then out wide into the 11, it's really difficult to counter and stop, isn't it?
And even more so when you're a little under strength. But it's one thing knowing what the opposition is going to do, and then another thing altogether in being able to stop it. And if your team that you're playing against is of a higher standard, has more quality than you, then the task just becomes almost impossible. And we're seeing just a little bit of it today with Woden, who are,
We've seen glimmers, though, haven't we, from Woden going forward as an attacking force that they could cause some issues.
And you've got to admire the fact that they haven't dropped their heads. 5-0 doesn't make any difference to them. They're going to play and keep playing, and I think that's very courageous.
Yeah, credit to them and their coaching staff and them as individuals as well. Coming up to the end of the first half. It's been all Olympic. We've had a few sporadic breaks from the Wanderers. Is Ma looking for Fields, stretches her legs. She's got McLaughlin running to this near side. Out comes Tiffin again, and the goalkeeper, excellent piece of work for her, but she's got to retreat quickly. Here's Fields, saw her off her line, didn't quite get the connection that Ma had earlier on. Might get a second opportunity here. Finds Gow. There was an appeal for handball, not given. Here's Emma Gow, back to Jameson. Clips it into the area. Hughes is there, though. Finds Longo, runs into a brick wall of Jamison, and Gaspari can find Fields. Referee Lawrence Thomas not far away from blowing the whistle. Indeed, there it is. And Steve, as much as it's been fairly one-way traffic, it's been great to see from Eddie Senatori's team that they played some excellent football and they scored some terrific goals.
Yeah, and there is a vast difference in the amount of quality between the two teams. On the one hand, you've got a football team that's playing at the peak of its powers. On the other hand, you've got a group of young ladies that are doing their best and working their socks off and have to be admired for the courage that they've shown. But this is Olympics game now. As a contest, it's probably finished, and it's really now about how strong, brave and courageous Woden can be. And, from a neutral point of view, I'm hoping that they can at least get a consolation to give them some encouragement as they go into the latter part of the season.
We'll find out in the second half. A hat-trick from Meg McLaughlin, 2 in the first 8 minutes, then a third in the 23rd minute, added to by goals from Grace Myers, spectacular chip from a long way out, and Sally Rojan with a composed finish 4 minutes before half-time, leaves Canberra Olympic very much in the box seat in this WMPL match here in Canberra. At half-time, it's Canberra Olympic 5, Woden Weston 0. Welcome back to O'Connor Enclosed here in the nation's capital. Second half of the Women's National Premier League match between Canberra Olympic and Woden Weston FC, live on Bar TV Sports. I'm Russ Gibbs, your commentator, joining me as he did in the first half, Steve Forshaw. At half-time, Steve, Canberra Olympic by far and away the better side of the two, and it's showing on the scoreboard, of course. They're 5-0 up, but there's been plenty of quality from Woden as well in adversity.
I think so, and I think some of the qualities that will take them further in their careers and as they develop as a young team, like the courage to keep playing and the strength of character to keep sort of their formations and their philosophy, I think that will take them a long way. It's not going to win them the game today, that's over as a contest, but they need to sort of persevere, and you won't succeed if you don't. From the Olympic perspective, some of the quality of the football's been first class, and they've looked a side that is capable of much better things than just beating an understrength Woden team here today.
Well, Woden seem to have made a change at half-time. Number 12, Georgia Maslin, looks like she's come on. We'll see who she's come on for. Unfortunately, they don't show us any substitute boards, so we'll check out to see where she is on the field and see who's made way. Canberra Olympic with the same 11 that started the game, unsurprisingly. McLaren in goal, Dawson, Bassasil, Keating, Jameson, Roja, Marfield, Gaspari, Gow and McLaughlin.
I suspect it might be Hughes that's gone off, Russ.
It does look like young Rosie Hughes, doesn't it? She had a game this morning, so not surprising. That means that their team now is Tiffin in goal, Plummer, Whitfield, Maslin, Gupta, Longo, Caruso, Cameron, Brown, Evans and Vanderbroek. So we Olympic looking to add to their goals. We got a couple of half-time scores from around the grounds, which I'll give you in just a moment, as Dawson initiates the first attack of the second half to field. Goes back to Rojan, who's robbed by Vandenbroek. Now then, has she got the pace to get away? Rojan's back with her. And then Vandenbroek cuts in field. Keating stops her. Caruso's shot. Brown's there as well. And Woden on the front foot start the second half, and he's given a penalty, I think. Yeah,
handball. You've seen the handball. I mean, it's one of those strange ones where you're not sure whether it was deliberate or not, but I think there was contact. The referee spotted it, and he's given Woden a penalty. And this is by far and away their best opportunity to get on the score sheet.
Well, Anna Vandenbroek's placed the ball on the spot. Can she get the opportunity to put Woden back in it? It's a great penalty, an absolute perler from Vandenbroek. Top corner, absolutely no chance for Miriam McLaren. It's a fifth of the season for Anna Vandenbroek, and that's a great start to the second half for Diego Almudua and the Woden Western Wanderers.
Well, if it's to be a consolation, it's a terrific one. What a great start to the second half for the Wanderers. I mean, they could have come out, dropped their heads, been disconsolate after the first half shellacking, but they've come out firing and they've got themselves just reward.
Tell you what, Steve, we've done 20, 25 games or so this season. I've yet to see a penalty as good as that one.
It was a cracker, wasn't it?
Absolutely rifled into the top corner.
Yeah.
I don't think any goalkeeper on the planet would have stopped that.
No, you don't save them, that's for sure. Right up there in the Spiders, where the Spiders live.
Yeah, outstanding penalty from Anna Vandenbroek. It's 5-1. Elsewhere, Gungahlin United 0, Canberra United Academy 2, which means, as it stands, Canberra Olympic will be up into the 4 by the end of the day's play. And down at Canberra, Tuggeranong United 0, Belconnen United 3 at half-time.
On the Wembley of the South.
Wembley of the South. The city of Canberra Stadium, I think we've called it in the past. Here's McLaughlin looking to respond for Olympic. Gaspari into the penalty area. Out to Dawson. She gets it back from Bassasilk. A little 1-2 to get Bassasilk in here. Easily done from Bassasilk. Pulls it back for McLaughlin, who puts it over the crossbar and flings her hands to the heavens in despair.
Really could have had 6 again, couldn't she? But I mean, a great goal return. A hat-trick in the first half is more than just reward for her efforts. But on the chances that have been created, none of them have been really difficult, the ones that she's missed. So she could have had more than 3.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt quite so much when you've already got 3 on the in the pocket, does it?
No.
But as a striker who's loves goals, should be keen to add to the 18 she's got this season. 20 is a nice round tally, isn't it, to be going on with?
Be lovely. Be lovely. I mean, the race for the Golden Boot hots up, doesn't it, at this stage of the season?
Well, if she can get a couple more, you wouldn't say it's beyond reach, does it? I don't know who scored for the academy this afternoon, but try and find out later. Here is McLaughlin to Field. Get the feeling the scoring's not done here, possibly at both ends. Dawson to Gaspari. Nicely done to Ma. She tries her luck, but it bounces harmlessly through to Tiffin. Didn't quite get the connection she got in the first half.
And I think it was a little block on there as well. Defender did well to get something on it.
Whitfield. Field steps in front of Cameron. Gaspari loses out to Caruso, who gets it back again. Galdo was back to challenge. Gaspari finds Field. Rojan. Little triangles that were so effective in the first half. Ma out wide to Bassa Silk. Looks to find the run of Gracefield. It didn't quite come off.
The Olympic team, I mean, the quality in midfield, we've mentioned previously in the first half, the quality's there, but they break the lines far too easily. They're finding space in between the lines. Grace Ma, we saw a great example of it then, just a 2 or 3 metre pass, and she's passed 3 or 4 players, and that's where quality teams can hurt the opposition. Dawson
collects the goal kick and wins herself a free kick. What is noticeable, Steve, is that in Rojan, Ma, Field, Bassa Silk, they've got players that are very competent at futsal as well, and in these tight spaces they're very good at playing these little 1-2 passes.
Yeah, well, you mentioned it in the first half that they're comfortable on the ball, and no matter which player it is, whether it's the back four or the midfield or the front, they're very, very comfortable with the ball at the feet, and maybe that is a function of...
Ball's in towards Gow, it's bouncing around, Tiffin's there, and it bounced off her shins and she managed to collect it.
She's done well, the goalkeeper, hasn't she? But yeah, it may well be a function of their futsal background.
It's a mighty kick from Tiffin. The bounce has done Bassa Silk. Now here's Vandenbroek in behind, looking to take on Jameson.
In a game that's been dominated by the front players, Jamison has been as solid as a rock in her position at fullback.
It's Dawson bringing it forwards. Stays on her feet. Lady Dawson. Only McLaughlin ahead of her though, and Gupta's back to make the challenge. Olympic will be looking to find the rhythm they had in the first half that created the openings for Meg McLaughlin to score an early hat-trick. Added to by Grace Ma and Sally Rojan, of course. Anna Vanderbroek's penalty at the start of the second half, reducing the gap. Probably too far to say that getting them back in the contest, but definitely something reward for the effort they put in that first half.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm absolutely delighted that they've been able to get at least a goal. And, you know, we've said before, and we'll say again, that they do have enough up front that they might get another.
Well, they came from 2-0 down earlier in the season. Not sure they can come from 5-0 down, but they may be able to trouble McLarening the goal again. Dawson's in on the far post here. Gupta's back with her. Dawson into the area and appeals for the corner and gets it. She's looked lively, hasn't she, Lily Dawson?
Absolutely. Yeah, really good pace. Very, very positive. Every time she's been asked to go forward, she's either taken somebody on or found a decent pass. So she's had a good game. The goal scorers get the glory, but it's people around them that set them up that are the real heroes of a game.
Still feel she may get the opportunity to get her first goal of the season at some stage today. As is Olympic swing that one in towards Tiffin came. Keating challenged. It's going to fall for McLaughlin. Plumbers with her. It's well done by Meg McLaughlin to pull that back into the area. Keating finds Rojan. Thought about the shot and decided against it. Keating again. They've worked this well. Rojan. Good challenge by Caruso. Rojan on the floor still going. Good battle that one. McLaughlin. All a bit scrappy. Bounces off a field. And in the end, Gupta gets rid of it. But it's going to come straight back. Dawson to Bassa Silk. Keating just nudges it through to Rojan almost nonchalantly into the forwards. Here's Dawson. Slides it through. Real chance here. Is this another one? It's poked into the corner of the net. It's yet another goal. It's Meg McLaughlin again, I think. Her fourth of the afternoon. Just nudged it past the goalkeeper and it's 6-1.
it almost rolled apologetically into the back of the net. But once again, some neat combinations from the Olympic girls that have seen and created an opening. And we saw, prior to the goal being scored, Keating and Rosejohn involved in little 1-2s, and then when the ball came back in, it's just a little poke through, and simple as you like, 6-1.
Similar to the nudge for the first one, to just roll it past the goalkeeper. Shows you don't have to take the leather off the ball to score. Here's Gal. She finds Field. So 4 goals to Meg McLaughlin this afternoon. Jamieson, we've only played 10 minutes of the second half. Olympic 6-1 up. Caruso. I feel a bit sorry for some of these Woden players because they are putting the bodies on the line there. When defensively they were throwing themselves into tackles, blocking midfielders, but just when their space is constricted, Olympic look very tidy.
And, you know, before the 6th goal was scored, they'd actually got an opportunity to clear, and it was a poor touch that sort of bounced the ball back in the direction of the Olympic midfield.
Here's Longo. Finds Brown. Looks to turn Jamieson, but Field is back to win it. Brown's not letting her settle though. Oh, that's nicely done from Field to Keating. Now Rojan and Gal. And Ma slides it wide to McLaughlin, who's taken a wider position this time towards Gal, and back there is Whitfield making the challenge.
But you're seeing, when the ball's played into the feet of the Woden strikers, they're having to turn and take on 2 and 3 defenders, whereas in similar situations when Olympic are going forward, they've got a simple pass the way they're facing, and it makes the game that much easier.
Well, they're on the front foot again. McLaughlin, Rojan. Nice touch from Gaspari to Fields, who dinks one goalwards. Tiffin quite happy to let that one run past the post.
Well, there's been a lot of endeavour by the girls in red and black, but the goalkeeper to me has actually stood out.
Olympics' biggest win of the season, 9-1 against Tuggeranong United in round 9 here at O'Connor. They bagged 5 on a couple of occasions against Tuggeranong at Canberra and again, or twice at Canberra. And against the Academy they also scored 5. So this is the second highest score they've managed this season so far. You get the feeling they're hungry for more. Here's Gal. Gaspari. Rojan. Lovely ball forward to Gal. Great move this one. McLaughlin. Plummer stuck to a task. McLaughlin's still going though. Fields. Rojan. And I think that was half a shot, half a chip in the end. I
think she might have been caught in 2 minds then between 2 stools, but once again, lovely combination play.
So slick, isn't it? The passes, it's crisp passing, the touches are good, and credit, I think, I want to point out for Bridget Plummer at the back there. She's stuck to McLaughlin, even though she scored 4 goals. She's stuck to her task pretty well and has not put her head down.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, all the Woden girls have showed the right level of endeavour. They've just been outplayed today.
Sometimes that just happens in football. Here's Rojan to Bassa Silk. Back to Rojan again. Gaspari, as much as it's difficult for Woden Wanderers fans to watch, it is, from a neutral point of view, lovely to see this crisp passing from the blue-shirted Olympic team.
And you would imagine that if they get onto a better surface, it'll be even better.
Fields looks to slide in Gow, and Tiffin's there once more.
I mean, this is not a bad pitch, but it's not as good as some of the grounds they'll play on later on this year.
Ma wins the ball. Still going, Grace Ma into the penalty area, fires it across. Is this another one? Brilliant save from Tiffin. McLaughlin helped it goalwards, and diving to her left, the keeper's pushed it round the post. Beautiful stop.
Yeah, but for Tiffin, I think it could have been a lot worse. I mean, she's done really well. And that's, you know, with all due respect to the girls in front of her, she's been exposed quite a fair bit.
You said McLaughlin's had 4, she could have had 8.
Yeah.
And that wasn't her fault that time. She's missed a couple, but on that occasion she's been denied by a spectacular piece of goalkeeping from Tiffin. The keeper's going to be called into action again off this corner. Olympic hungry for more. Ball comes in. That's bounced off Plummer's face, I think, and has winded the Woden Weston defender.
Well, any part of the anatomy you can to get it clear, and she's been brave enough to get in the way of it, so all credit to her.
I'm not sure how much she knew about it. Tiffin came to punch, missed it, I think, and it just kind of struck her. Not sure where it hit her, whether it was in the chest or the face, I'm not sure. Shaking it off, though, as you'd expect from the captain.
Yeah, she's up on her feet, ready to go again.
I think he might have called her in the windpipe. It was,
yeah. She could probably do without it. It's 6-1 down on a sort of day that's cooling off somewhat.
Once the sun goes down, it's going to get very cold here, isn't it? Another corner, another set piece. Facing into the sun for the keeper this time, so it's going to be even trickier. Ball swung in. The header is from Rojan, but it's almost a 1-2, I think. In the end, McLaughlin fires it in, and the flag was up for offside. Would have been the most unusual one too.
Yeah. It was. I mean, it's a free header, so you're thinking maybe get it on target if you can, but
and they go short. Whitfield hooks it forward. Brown. Keating's not given her much room, but she's done well there to find Vandenbroek, who scored the penalty. Keating's there. Now Whitfield, left-footed, asks Bassasilk if she can head, and she can. Does well to nod that into the path of field. He just shows a composure to kill the ball stone dead, and then the ball's spread wide. A lovely sweeping ball from Ma into the path of Dawson. Dawson bearing down on goal. Lily Dawson over the crossbar. Still, she waits for her first WMPL goal of the season.
She's not going to get too many better chances than that, but lovely ball from Ma. Again, the break was quick against a fairly flat back four. They were high and flat. Dawson's in behind. Her pace is just much to handle for the Woden girls, but finish just lacked that little bit of quality.
As we were talking about earlier, rather than the power, just with a little bit of placement. But if she keeps getting into those positions, sooner or later it's going to come off for her. Gupta, Vandenbroek, it's been a tireless run up front along with Brown. Good for him from Jemison. Now his long go. Can she find Brown? First time Brown's had a bit of space in which to work. Keating's gone across. Good ball in from Brown. It's dipping as well, and McLaren had to do well there. She had to be on her toes. Often you see sometimes coming out of the sunshine. It's difficult to see.
But she's dealt with that really comfortably, and you know she hasn't been involved in the game, McLaren, all that much. So her concentration levels, you know, it wouldn't be unreasonable to expect that they may drop away. But she's been on her toes all day.
Probably be filthy as most goalkeepers are that she's conceded, though. Even though she could do absolutely nothing about that penalty. Here come Olympic again. Here's McLaughlin looking to bring it down in the penalty area. Good defending by Whitfield, and Longo can bring it away. There's space for her now. It's opening up. Brown peels off into the right wing position. Look to take on Jameson. Back her pace, comes in field. Gaspari's there. It's going to fall for Caruso. Shooting chance perhaps for Alison Caruso, and it's off of the heel of Rojan, and that should be a corner.
Surely it's a corner.
Has to be a corner, surely.
Unless it hit the Woden player, did it?
Well, I thought it came off of the heel of Sally Rojan, to be honest, and so
he's changed his mind. It is a corner.
Does the referee Lawrence Morris in the end? I think we got the right decision there, Steve.
Yeah. I mean, we all make mistakes, and if we can correct them, so they should. So the referee's got it right, and he's had a decent game, has he not?
Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Sometimes you don't see it, and you rely on your assistants to help you out. And sometimes you even get the players saying, yeah, it came off me, Steve. They're happy to put their hand up and say, yeah.
Yeah, that's once every 30 years, I think, Russ.
The sportsmanship never goes amiss. What can they do from this free kick? Swung corner, rather. Plummer wins a header. Good one, too.
Certainly done enough to suggest that the one goal is a fair return for the Woden Wanderers.
Woden Weston Wanderers FC, as they like to call themselves. We were in sixth place before this match started. They did have an outside chance of finals football. You think that's probably gone now, but means that next week, when they face Canberra FC, they could play the role of party poopers. And Canberra FC probably haven't quite got the slickness of this Olympic outfit. Still got some quality players, though. Here's Gal. Now Field. Lovely ball into space for Emma Gal. She's got Ma ahead of her. Places off the back of Grace Ma. And it'll be Gupta to find Evans. But good skills. Here they come forward again. Brown has been a pest since the start of the game. Here she goes. Back towards Caruso. And that's out of play for Beck Keating. The goal kick which McLaren decides to go short with. And Keating will look to start an attack from deep. And they've been happy to do so for most of the game. Here's Kaspari. Fields. Just makes it look effortless. She glides past players and looks for McLaughlin, and she's onside, and off she goes. She's got Gow with her, but Meg McLaughlin bearing down a goal, fires it across looking for Emma Gow, and Tiffin once more shows how good she is as a goalkeeper. 6-1 down, but putting her hand up for player of the match on us.
She's had more touches than any of the other Woden girls put together, and she's actually played her position really well. She's kept them, you know, I mean, the scoreline's blown out, but without her, it could have been a lot worse.
McLaughlin's away again, flags up this time. Offside. Next week's matches, 2 games on Saturday. The Canberra United Academy play Monero Panthers in the WNPL, and Belconnen United play Canberra Olympic. Going to see a change here. It's the hard-working Alison Caruso that's going off. She's had a good game in the middle of the park, battling away with those Olympic players. Annika Shu replaces her. And we'll have the unenviable task, I guess, of trying to disrupt this Olympic midfield.
Caruso's done well. She's had a really strong game, and I think they'll miss her presence in the middle of the park.
She's certainly put a shift in, hasn't she?
Yeah, she has.
Chase for Vandenbroek. And the ball's going to beat both her and Beck Keating for a goal kick. The other 2 games next week on the Sunday, Woden Weston FC versus Canberra FC and Gungahlin United versus Tuggeranong United. I believe next Saturday evening the plan is for us to be at Mackellar for Belconnen versus Canberra Olympic in the WNPL. And then on Sunday, live men's Premier League football from Deakin Stadium, Canberra FC versus Belconnen. Ball through for McLaughlin to chase. Plummer's with her. McLaughlin gets there. And Whitfield clears. Nodded straight back by Ma to Gaspari. Rojan. Looking for the run of Dawson, who's onside. She's got McLaughlin in the middle. Rojan arriving now. Half a touch, and Whitfield once more clears. Here's Evans. Looking for Shu. First touch for her. It's going to be a throw-in. Vanderbroek beaten by Keating. Dawson stretches out the leg. Maslin's ball forward. And the referee's given a free kick. Georgia Maslin, she came on at half-time. We haven't really mentioned her much. She's been throwing her body into positions in and around the defensive area, trying to make herself involved. Difficult for you to come on as a centre-back, Steve, when you shipped 5 goals in the first half.
That's right, but at this stage of the second half, and there's still plenty of time to go, it's a 1-1 game, so Woden can take some encouragement.
Whitfield fires it in. This could be another one, and it is. It may have gone directly in. Sarah Whitfield's getting the congratulations. It fizzed across the goal, and it's in for a second goal for Woden Weston. It's now 6-2.
Well, there you go, 2-1 up for the second half, and that's just reward for a team that has not thrown in the towel. Certainly outplayed. No, on all credit to Olympic for the way they've played, but Woden have never ever shown any signs that they would stop and just make it easy for Olympic. So to be 2-1 up in the second half after you've been 5-0 down in the first, great effort.
Good finish that too.
It'll do.
She put it into the danger area. It's always difficult, those ones, isn't it? Your forward might have got a touch on it, and it's hard for the goalkeeper as well because they're expecting perhaps a touch. And when it doesn't get one, they sometimes make it look like a mug when it rolls in on that far post.
That's right.
But it's an enviable task because if you don't go for it and it goes in like that, if you do go for it and it gets a touch.
Yeah, I mean, the goalkeepers will be instructed that their job is to make sure it doesn't go in at the near post. And it's up to the defenders to make sure that everything else is covered. But football's a funny old game like that, and if people just switch off for a moment, that's what happens.
Well, Olympic hit back after they conceded early in the second half. Midway through the second half here live on Bar TV Sports, leading 6-2. Ball into the penalty area. Plummer clears it through a raft of players. And Maslin helps it wide. Evans sends it on its way towards Vandenbroek. Bassasilk's there. And Field beaten to it by Longo. And so's Rojan. Longo putting the effort in. Here's Dawson.
She's worked really hard, Longo, hasn't she?
She certainly has. His shoe, looking to send it forward towards Brown. Comes off her shoulder. Almost got her in behind Keating. Now here's Vandenbroek. Olympic looking a little bit shaky. Here's Brown. Chance for Longo, perhaps. And Jameson had to get there. Now Ma. And she sends the ball in for McLaughlin. Tiffin, though, has come out of her goal to get there. And sends it straight back up the field. Where Field touches it to Jameson. And Whitfield in as well. She's battled well, the defender, isn't he, Sarah Whitfield? Got herself a reward with that goal.
Yeah. Well, I think it's not been the proverbial game of two halves, but it's a case of what might have been for Woden had they been just a little bit more effective in the first half.
Well, conceding
and up front.
Going 2-0 down in 8 minutes is always going to give you a problem. But they've acquitted themselves well, particularly in this second half. Whatever they said at half-time is certainly bearing fruit. Now then, Ma is going to get there first. The ball stayed in play for her, and here's Grace Ma. Plummer's there, gets enough of a touch on it. And Maslin can clear it, but only as far as Dawson. Field. Gaspari. Olympic looking to reimpose their authority on this one. Rojan. Gets it back again from Bassasilk. Gaspari. Patient build-up once more. Bassasilk to Rojan. Field. Looking to work it through, perhaps a little bit too intricately on that occasion. They'll get the throw in. Dawson's giving it away to Maslin. And here's a chance for Vandenbroek. It's 2-on-2 briefly here. Ella Brown is in behind Jameson. The ball sent her a little bit wide though. But she's going to back herself to come in field. Shoes there. Here's Longo turning on the edge of the box and wins a free kick as well in a dangerous position. So much better this from Woden Weston. They're threatening again, and Canberra Olympic looking a little bit shaky, whether or not they've gone to sleep a bit, Steve.
Look, I think they've certainly taken the foot off the pedal. We saw in a few moments ago the last attack they had where they overplayed and were very pedestrian in their forward movements. But give some credit to Woden, who have fought the way back and have taken the second half so far and thoroughly deserve to be where they are. They've
been very, very good in the second half, and here they are threatening once again. Anna Vandenbroek's behind the ball, having a chat with Annika Shue. Vandenbroek, who scored the penalty, looks like she's going to be the one to take it. In fact, it's just touched to her right, and he chips it goalwards, and interesting variation on the free kick there.
Yeah, nice piece of improvisation, but the finish was never going to trouble the goalkeeper, was it? And Olympic just need to sort of regather a little bit now and start playing again.
And Beck Keating has maybe said something out of turn to the referee, who's just laying down the law. Hasn't been that kind of game, is it, really?
No. It would be silly to get a yellow card now and you're in a position of strength.
McLaren will get us back underway. 27 minutes of the second half gone. Canberra Olympic 6, Woden Weston 2. Can't argue for the entertainment value in terms of goals. Plenty of them. Completely different type of game to the one I saw in Griffith yesterday. Wasn't as many goals. And we're going to get a free kick here. And we're going to see a yellow card. The referee dishing out the first card of the match. And it's Anna Vandenbroek.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess it was late and it was deserving of a free kick, but I'm not sure that was a yellow card offence.
Not in that situation in where there is on the field, to be fair, but there we go. Lawrence Morris, like I said, has done nothing wrong today. Flag goes up against Grace Field. The referee hasn't seen it, has now. No comms, of course, in this grade, so unless he gets a shout, he's not going to know that where that ball, whether or not that was offside, so just a glance along the line. Plummer. Nice foot in from Bassasilk. Gaspari. Good challenge out in the middle of the park by Longo again. Shu. But Phil wins it back. Prods it forwards to Ma. Trouble here. Grace Ma, she's got McLaughlin outside. It's still going on her own. Grace Ma. Now it's McLaughlin. Is this another? That's a good stop. Again from Tiffin. McLaughlin picks up the pieces. Plummer, her shadow is with her, and in the end, she can't do anything with it. But another great save from Michelle Tiffin, and another chance for Meg McLaughlin.
Yeah, it could well have been 7 or 8 off in her own goal tally. Goalkeeper's done extremely well again. Narrowed the angle, made herself big, made the save. But I think Gracie Marr probably just held on to that a little bit too long for Mel McLaughlin's liking.
Mel McLaughlin? Meg.
Oh, Meg McLaughlin, sorry. Apologies to Mel and Meg.
Substitution we're going to see here for Woden Weston in a second. Steve, I was going to say just before that, maybe the defender did very well, because it could have been easy just to go towards Grace Marr and make it easier for her to play it to Meg McLaughlin, but by staying where she did, it gave Marr a decision, didn't it? It
did, but it looked to me like she was just caught in two minds, whether to take it on herself and have a ping, or whether she should play McLaughlin in. And I think, easy in hindsight, of course, that the earlier ball to McLaughlin might have been the better option.
Caitlin Evans has gone off. She had a good game as well. And number 16 is Vanessa Burdett, who's been around football in Canberra for a very, very long time. Was a major part of the Belwest Foxes women's team when they were multiple grand final winners back in the mid-2000s, towards late 2000s. Wouldn't have been involved today, really, I think, if the masses of injuries hadn't occurred. And we're going to see Emma Gow off here as well. A little change for Canberra Olympic. I think this may be Alexia Fauna jogging towards us. Can't really see it. It's not, in fact, it is Alexia Fauna. Yep.
Number 10.
Normally has her hair in braids, which is surprising us. Got the ponytail in today. This is Alexia Fauna, who's in the Mini Matildas camp that we told you about earlier.
Looking forward to seeing her. Great opportunity to come on and just strut her stuff and just play with a little bit of freedom, because the game's ostensibly won.
I was talking to her mum before kick-off, and I said Alexia Fauna's one of those players that you feel's been around forever, and she's still only 14 years old. She started playing when she was 9 against some top-level players when she was playing in futsal and that kind of thing. So she's out here on the Premier League field, and chance for her to show what she can do. Scored a goal already this season. Got one to her name. Looking to add to that tally if she can.
14-year-old and already being recognised at international level. It's a wonderful start to your career, isn't it?
A lot of time for her to improve on that as well, and to make a real mark in the game. Here's Rojan, shot from McLaughlin. Not going to trouble the goalkeeper.
Took a deflection. We'll have a corner.
Yeah, Fauna's peeled off to this left-hand side. She'll peel out on the left, where Emma Gow worked hard today, didn't she? She had a couple of chances in the first half as well. Yeah,
she got in behind often enough, but just probably lacked the pace to sort of lose her defender. But she toiled sort of without reward up and down this left-hand side. But not a bad game from young Gow.
Set-piece opportunity for Olympic with 12 minutes or so to play. Swung in towards a clutch of players, and both McLaughlin and Field got it, and Keating rather, got in each other's way. It's going to fall out for Dawson. Stabs it towards Field. Rojan's with her, but Longo, who has been very good in this second half especially, stood up.
She's done really well. She's worked very hard for her team, and has just kept going and going.
Well, Brown is chasing this one. Across comes Bassasilk. Tries to turn Ella Brown, and Bassasilk does well. to find Jameson, who goes back to Keating. Clips it forward to Field. Right in front of the commentary position here, and Maslin's in strongly. But Field still wins the ball. Here's Fauna.
Good turn. Good first touch.
Finds Rojan. And they work the space for Jameson, who clips it forward. Whitfield wins the header. And will be called into action again to challenge Field. Did enough. Maslin finds Whitfield. Sends a nice ball forward. Vandenbroek will chase it. Bassasilk was called in to defend again. The loose ball is picked up by Brown. Swings it in towards Vandenbroek, who wins the header ahead of McLaren, but couldn't direct it goalwards, and that was a good opportunity again. And Woden Weston is showing that they've got some teeth after all, Steve.
Yeah, very unlucky. What a wonderful cross. And she's met it reasonably well. The referee initially gave a corner, which I think was a bit surprising, because she did win the header and got in front of the defender, and it's just lobbed a little too high. McLaren
did just enough, didn't she, to put her off for getting the contact, which would have brought them another goal. As it is, it's still 6-2. And there's Bassasilk.
It's been a much, much better half for the Wanderers. Much better half.
And better contest because of it, Steve, as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Which has helped.
Yeah.
Rojan's ball forward. McLaughlin and Plummer again has defended Meg McLaughlin pretty well. Concedes the corner, got the important toe in.
It's the sort of defending that she needed to have in the first half, in that crucial period between 4 and 8 minutes when they scored twice. Had she been able to bottle McLaughlin up, that he might have been in the game now.
Yeah, it set the tone for the rest of the afternoon, didn't it, very early on? And still time, 10 minutes to play.
Well, still time for more goals, but Olympic, I think if they want to get more out of this game than just the result, they need to just step it up a little bit and play with a bit more urgency.
Here's McLaughlin on the edge of the area. Shot comes in and she scores again. A low left foot drive and a thumping effort from Meg McLaughlin, her 5th of the afternoon, her 20th of the season. It's 7-2.
Well, it's a lovely finish, and poor old the Wanderers goalkeeper has been really good this afternoon. He's been beaten at a near post. And it just looked like she was just a little tired and getting down to that. She went down a little late. But full credit to McLaughlin. 5 goals in any level is a great return.
The nap patent for Meg McLaughlin, as I said, brings her up to around 20 for the season. And considering she didn't start playing until about round 8, she's done incredibly well. And there's still plenty of rounds for her to keep adding to that tally. Here's Vandenbroek. Now Brown wins the corner. With a player like that as well, Steve, that's going to give you that goal threat, you've got a chance in finals football, haven't you?
Everybody needs one. Everybody needs somebody that can actually put the ball in the back of the net. And the better teams always have somebody that gives them that really good goal return. And McLaughlin is proving to be the answer to the Olympic problems in that department.
Brown's corner falls on the edge of the penalty area. There was almost half a chance for Cameron, but the break is on for Field. Only McLaughlin ahead of her. Looks to return the ball to Grace Field, but Maslin was there. Happy to make the clearance. Well, we thought there'd be time for more goals. We've now had a 9th of the game, 7-2. Can't say we don't bring you goals on Bar TV Sports. Plenty this afternoon. Back to Keating. Rojan. Space for her to work. Looking for Dawson. Still looking for her goal, of course. And that's well defended by Gupta. The other substitutes on the bench for Olympic today: Nikki Bailey, Vanessa Ryan, Kirsten Hurt and Gabby O'Brien. Wonder if we'll see any of them before the full-time whistle.
Interesting that they haven't made more changes and given some of the other girls a run.
Well, here's Gaspari. Whitfield needed to be tight to her and was. And Shu can bring it away. Bounces through the challenge of Ma. Jameson is back defending. Rojan to Bassasilk. Now Field helps it on its way, asking Dawson to chase. A little bit too much at this stage of the game for her to get that one.
Good idea, though. Good idea, though. Get it in, play it forward. And Dawson's pace has been problematic for Woden all day, and so it was a good idea, just unfortunate it didn't come off for him. pace of the game has just slowed incredibly now. I mean, I think that's just as a result of the fact that it's, as a contest, it's stopped. But Olympic are almost down to walking pace at the moment.
Field's touch is going to be picked up by Longo. It's 3-on-3. Jerry Longo striding towards goal. She's tried her luck from a long way out. And why not? She deserves an effort, I think, for the endeavour she's put in throughout the game.
Yeah.
Possibly not the best option with the Van der Broek and Brown peeling off, but
why not?
As you say, why not have a pop?
Yeah. I mean, she's a little frustrated with herself and probably some of her teammates, but I think, you know, they've given everything that they can, and they're just tired now.
Well, they've got another 6 minutes or so, plus stoppage time, and hopefully there won't be too much of that. I don't think Lawrence Morris is going to add too much on. Here's a chase on between McLaughlin and Plummer once again, and McLaughlin shows her strength and is pulled up for the free kick. Now Whitfield, who scored the second Woden Weston goal. Nicely done there. Cuts in field, finds Longo, who's been a bundle of energy in this second half. All over the place. Here's Whitfield again. Swings the ball in, much like she did when she scored. Ball sent away. Here's Fauna. Haven't really seen enough of her in the forward third at the moment. I'm sure we'll see a little bit more before the end. Ma to Keating. Field. Keating again. And
hasn't done much wrong at the back either. Actually, her football's been really good. Distribution's been excellent. Defended well when she's needed to.
Up to find Shu. Let's come off Bassa Silk and Ella Brown just on her heels. McLaren not wasting any time to get us back underway. Now Rojan. McLaughlin. Field. Dawson's away again here, and the flag goes up, and that must have been almighty tight.
It looked offside. I thought the linesman really well positioned and got the decision correct, but it was close.
High line that Woden are playing at this stage of the game. Here's Burdett looking for Brown. Looks to send that ball into the penalty. It might fall for Vanessa Burdett, and she sends it back towards Brown again, and the flag is up for offside against the winger.
Brown looks to have a handy amount of pace. She's done well second half.
Fairly strong with it as well. Caused a few issues for the Olympic back four. Posed a few questions for Eddie Senatori, which, as they move towards finals football, this, again, I should reiterate, will put them in the top four unless there's been a remarkable turnaround at Gungahlin. They were 2-0 down at half-time to the Academy. We'll put Olympic in the top four and put them in the box seat to keep that position as we head into the final weeks of the season, although next week they have a real litmus test of where they'll be against Belconnen at the McKellar Park.
Certainly, but you'd rather be in the top four and trying to stay there than outside the top four and trying to get in.
Here's Lungo. Ball swung into the penalty area. And the chance for Fauna, if she can get there ahead of Maslin. She does, but Maslin does enough to find the ball to Whitfield. And she wins a free kick. Well, as I said, Steve, this will put Olympic above Gungahlin, but Gungahlin play Tuggeranong United next week as well, so they could well have the advantage back in their court if they get a result there. Yeah. And then, of course, Belconnen can beat Canberra Olympic, so there's plenty of twists and turns to go before the end of this season.
Oh, it's not a foregone conclusion, and Olympic have got the sort of quality that can trouble most teams, but you know, they're in the battle for the fourth spot purely and simply because they. Oh,
a shoe sent that in, Stephen. McLaren, I'm going to say she had it covered and let it go out for the goal kick.
I think you're being kind. But yeah, Olympic, if they can get into that top, well, the big test, as you suggest, is next week against Belconnen, because if they don't get something out of that game, you would expect Gungahlin to beat Tuggeranong, given that Tuggeranong is still pointless. So, you know, it's going to go down to the wire.
And I think Gungahlin United will actually play Canberra Olympic in a few weeks as well, and that game has massive connotations on it as well.
That could well be the decider.
Field. Burdett heads it back into space. Shu looks to find Cameron, but she's beaten to it. Now here's Fauna. McLaughlin looks to spin away into space. Meg McLaughlin in on goal again here. Plummer's with her, still going. McLaughlin, will she get the shot away? Still trying to get the shot away. Back to Dawson, who chips it goalwards. I think she had a little bit of a giggle at her own shot there, didn't she?
I think Meg McLaughlin was trying to set her up there, I think, because the shot was probably on for her sixth.
Double hat-trick for the second time this season will be a bit greedy. Aoife Colville's done it twice for Balcony United. All goal scorers like to add to their tally. It's a good challenge in the middle of the park by Shu. She's got a runner here, and this Whitfield was screaming for it. And she'd be a bit disappointed that she wasn't given it.
Yeah, it's a little bit greedy. A little bit greedy, but I think that's just a sign of the fact that Woden, chasing shadows for a lot of this game, have just...
Well, here's Fauna, Steve, in on goal here. Alexia Fauna, can she add to the tally? Real chance for Fauna, brilliantly done, and that's a superb piece of defending as well by Plummer. Great stuff from Fauna to just sell the goalkeeper, and what a piece of defending from the skipper at 7-2 down.
Well, that's just fantastic football all round. I mean, Fauna breaks clear, she does the keeper.
Well, here we go again. Sorry, Steve, just to interrupt. It's come off Plummer again. And Longo can bring it clear.
But she does the keeper as easy as you like and went round her like she was nailed to the floor. But, you know, as all good defenders do, get in and cover. And she's managed to clear it off the line.
Didn't give it up, did she?
No.
And that's pretty impressive. And Bridget Plummer, hands on her hip, in between her legs at the moment, pretty sucking in the big ones.
It's indicative of the sort of character that the whole team's shown.
Keating at the back. Brown challenges into stoppage time at the end of the match. Lungo pushes it down the line for Brown. Is there time for one more goal to add to the tally? Rojan clips it forwards. Cameron's touch. Burdett wide. Huge amount of experience for Vanessa Burdett, as I alluded to earlier. Here's Gupta. Good ball in. Nicely touched by Longo. Tries to dribble her way through. And denied at the back. And here come Olympic. Fields. Rojan again, and Tiffin's come out. Who's going to get there first? McLaughlin gets there first. Can she get a double hat-trick? It's going to roll in for the second time this season. Meg McLaughlin has 6 to her name, and Canberra Olympic have 8, and it's the 10th goal of the match, and that was a lovely finish. This time, Tiffin came, didn't get there first, and McLaughlin made her pay.
And look, it's probably the only error of judgment that Tiffin has made all day. I mean, she was never really favourite to get to the ball first. McLaughlin, calm as you like, goes round her, left-footed, rolls the ball tantalisingly into the back of the net. And
it's virtually the last kick of the game. It's been some afternoon for Meg McLaughlin. She's got 6. She could have had 10.
Or more, even. But to the victor go the spoils, and Olympic have thoroughly deserved the win. Meg McLaughlin, I'll get it right eventually. Meg McLaughlin scored 6. That's a fantastic return, and I don't care what level you're playing at, to score 6 in the game is a really good effort. Olympic, too good. Woden, full of endeavour, showed a lot of character, but well beaten on the day. Got their reward with a couple of goals in the second half. Anna Vandenbroek's penalty and Sarah Whitfield's goal as well. So they've certainly battled hard in this second half, didn't they? And they like I said, they got a reward for their endeavours. There were some good performances throughout the team there. Bridget Plummer at the back, led by example. Geraldine Longo, outstanding in midfield as well. She certainly wasn't cowed by what she was faced by with today. But as you said, Olympic just a little bit too good. Yeah, and not to mention Tiffin in goal, who I thought had a strong game, even though she's conceded 8 at the end of the day. But beaten by a better team, and you just got to put your hand up and say thanks very much, but we tried our best, but you were too good on the day. Well, thanks very much for your company, Steve, and thank you. Your first WMPL game of the season has brought us 10 goals, so maybe we welcome back again. And thanks to Monique on the camera as well. Great work again. Wonderful afternoon here at football at O'Connor in Close. As you can see, walking off the field, 6 goal, Meg McLaughlin taking her tally to 21 for the season and putting her right back in the race for the Golden Boot, don't forget, as we head towards the final rounds of the season. Canberra Olympic adding to those 6 from McLaughlin for goals from Grace Marr, an absolute beauty, and Sally Rojan. Woden Weston, a great penalty from Anna Vandenbroek, and a goal from Sarah Whitfield. It's been an entertaining afternoon here at Canberra Olympic. As the sun goes down in the national capital, it's finished Canberra Olympic 8, Woden Weston 2.